Hello everyone, it's Caribbean E. Welcome to the channel. Hope everybody just having a wonderful day and that you are in the best of health. Today I'm coming with another inspirational message just for you. But it goes to me first, then to you. I'd like to welcome all my subscribers from all over God's green earth, wherever you are. I'm coming today for you to give you some inspiration to get through what you're going through. Today, our lesson takes us to the book of Daniel. Daniel, the 6th chapter, the 7th verse through the 28th verse. It's a long book. It has a long history, but it speaks about Daniel being a man of character. It speaks about his gifts. He had a gift of prophecy on him. He was able to discern and speak of dreams. He was a man of character, a man of prayer. They knew him in the city and other places as being a man of structure and a man of prayer and a man of power and fervor and favor from God. So I'm not going to read every verse because I'll be here all day long and I don't have that kind of time. Okay? But Daniel, the 6th chapter, the 7th through the 28th verse speaks about Daniel in the lion's den. Now, all you that have been to church and you heard these messages all through the years, okay, it's about a man of character, of stature, did no wrong to anybody, lover of mankind. But in his life, there's some things happen. Now, before these things happened, he was respected by the kings and by everybody. He couldn't do no wrong. So, this king at this time decided to come up with a decree. Okay? Come up with a decree that nobody would pray to any other god but the structure that he had set up. So, Daniel ignored the decree. He kept praying. He was praying. He had his windows open. Everybody heard him pray 3 times a day. And they knew that he was not talking and praying about their God, but he was talking about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the true and living Savior. So they didn't like it. So his haters and his enemies went behind his back and went to the king and said, "King, didn't you make a decree that at a certain time they would pray to the statue, all this other kind of stuff?" And he said, "Yeah, I did." They said, "Well, Daniel is violating that. Daniel is yet praying to his God. He's ignoring you." That's your busybodies, people that run up and tell of the good stuff. But you got to remember, karma ain't no joke. So I want to tell this story and tell it quick and wrap it up quickly. So when the king heard that Daniel was praying to his God, he summons them to bring Daniel to him. So he told Daniel what was happening, what was going to happen, and he was going to be placed in the lion's den. Okay? He was going to be placed in the lion's den because the king wanted to see if your God is so powerful, will he protect you in a den of lions or lion? See if he's going to keep the lion from ripping you apart. Some folks that you think are your friends will put you in a situation in the lion's den. So this message was birthed from my black book, my story, the weatherman's book, my tenure working for Republic Services. I had a black book. I kept a black book of everything that happened to me so I can use that black book and say such and such a day I was disrespected on my route, such and such a day I was talked down to from the foreman. I had to keep a black book to show the union and to show everybody else that this is a path of what I've been through, putting the story together. So these are notes from my black book. Just some of the notes, the tenure, what I had to face. Because when you're put in a bad situation from some people that don't like you, you're in some type of room with some type of animal. And that's how I felt from working for this company. Now, Daniel, it has a good history. I looked at myself as being a type of Daniel. So, let me give you some notes. In life, God will put certain people in your life to buffet you. They're not there to kill you, but they're there to buffet you and to make your day and your life miserable. It could be an ex-wife. It could be a boss on your job. It could be somebody in the neighborhood or even somebody in the church. They just don't like you. So they continue to let you know they don't like you. And sometimes secretly and privately, they smile in your face, but they're going over your head to talk to the boss about you so the lions can be sicked on you. So did you get my first point? In life, God will put certain people in your life to buffet you. Now, there's a reason for this. 4 reasons. You might want to write these down and keep them in your mind because I'm going quickly. Number 1, it's to make you stronger. It may not feel like it and seem like it, but number 1, it is to make you stronger. Number 2, it is to grow you up. So there's any immaturity in your life, it's going to help you to mature quickly. Number 3, it's to build your faith. Because I was in situations and I said, God, if you don't help me right now, I'm not going to make it. And sometimes God don't take you out of the situation like he did Daniel, but he'll get in the situation with you to help you to become more than a conqueror. And number 4? Well, number 4 again. Or number 5. Number 4 again. It's to build your endurance. Because when you're going through a storm, if you don't have no endurance, you're in trouble. Okay? So, build your endurance, which is an unpleasant or difficult process or situation without giving way. It seems like this storm, people are coming after you, talking about you behind your back. You can feel it, you can see it, and it seems like there's no end to it. Because that's what I felt like. The capacity or something to last or to withstand wear and tear of life's storms. It's like they're literally trying to rip you apart, rip your soul apart, rip your body apart, and rip your character apart. Like they try to do Daniel. The adjective of this last point that I made is relating to a sporting event that takes place over a long period or time, or otherwise great physical and spiritual stamina. That means it's going to test everything in you to see what you're made of. So, the trusting God in life's storms will test everything inside of you and to bring out the best in you in every season. I am a living witness, and these are from my notes. I am a living witness when people in this world don't like you, they will come after you with a smile on their face to destroy you in any way they can, especially if you go over their head. Especially if you work for a corporation. Okay? And I see everything that I'm saying, it applies that what Daniel went through what I went through, but in a different way. I felt like the last 7 years that I worked for this company, I was in a lion's den. And it seemed like I went from the lion's den to the fiery furnace and to everything else, be whipped and beat with stripes, coming from people that did not like me. And you can feel if somebody liked you or not. They tried to break me because I wouldn't join that ugly good old boys sucking up to the boss group. They did not like it. Now, there's a good old boys group. I had to put up with much work to gain every penny that I made. The devil will stretch you out from day to day. But I was thinking that I was being torn apart inside. My emotions, my feelings. But then God showed up and showed me that this storm was made to make you stronger, to last longer, without tearing or breaking you apart. I had to learn that the hard way. So that's what the system wants you to do, is to fall apart and give up the fight. They wanted me to leave the job and give up my pension and everything else. They was pushing me to the max. But God showed up and said, I'm not going to take you away from this station. Even though I worked at all 3 stations. I don't care if you're thinking about transfer. He said, I want you to stay right here because there's something that I want to show you. Though you're in the lion's den, he's not going to touch you. He's trying to. He's buffing at you. He smells you. He sees you. But I won't allow him to attack you. Even when it came to Job, it's the story about Job. He said, Lord, and there was a conversation between God and the devil. And God told the devil, I'll take the hedges away from him, but don't mess with his soul. You can mess with his body, his mind, but don't touch his soul. And Job went through high hell water, and I'm going to be speaking about that too coming up in the next, hopefully, few Sundays, about he got a knock on the door. And his life went to trash. But at the latter part of his life, he recovered everything that the enemy stole from him. So let me finish here quickly. Daniel and the weatherman in the lion's den. So real storms can extend or spread over a long period of time, or longer than expected. Sometimes you get into storms and you think that they're going to end real soon. No way, Jose. You got to stay right there and you got to deal with it. Because God is up to something. You may not be able to see it. And they put you in a pit and expected you to die. But you going from the pit to the palace. I'm saying something today that's going to encourage somebody if you get this revelation. It will be great demands on your mind when you're going through a storm. I had nights I can barely sleep. I had to think about my strategy. I had to keep praying because I know that the good old boys was after me. This will put a stress on your mind, your body, and your soul. But God certainly won't put no more on you than you can bear. Storms will also cause you to use your maximum use of your gifts, your talents, and your abilities. Because now you got to reach down in and see what you're made of. And that's what God wants to see, what you're made of. That you're not a chicken, but that you're going to fight the good fight of faith. He's going to make sure that you're not going to look at the size of your trials, of your storms. He wants you to look at him and not your Goliath. He wants you to see that you are a David. And you don't need an armor. You just need a slingshot to get the devil right between the eyes. And he will fall. So, you got to use your gifts and talent to get through this one. Real storms have reasonable and acceptable limits. God, again, won't put no more on you than you can bear. Storms come to stretch your faith and try your nerves. They come to try your nerves too, but they sure tried mine. It's to stretch also your spiritual muscles. Okay? It will test your spiritual armor, which is your sword and your shield and your helmet. It's going to test all of that. You're going to get arrows. You're going to get grenades thrown at you from people that don't like you, that hate you, can't stand you because you are who you are. A continual period of time can be a hardship at times, but at the end, it's well worth it. Now, these are the key points as I come to a conclusion. Don't wait until you are in a tough situation to learn about prayer. Because if you wait, man, and you in a den, even a dog can tell if you're scared of him. You got to reach down in, man, and say, I'm going to fight this fight of faith, and I'm going to get through this. And I've had a battle with God in my car driving to work every day. Didn't want to go to work. I had a conversation with him and said, God, where in the world are you? I can't see you. I can't find you. And he said, I'm right here with you, son. You ain't going to lose. You just got to stay right here because I'm not going to let you transfer. I'm not going to let you leave here. You're going to finish strong. And I said, God, right now I can't see it. And I know they're after me. I know they got they knives and they butcher knives waiting to butcher me when I clock in today. He said, but don't worry about it, because if God be for you, who can be against you? Romans 8:31. What shall we then say to these things? If God be for you, then who can be against you? And I had to encourage myself like David did. I had to reassure myself that God was with me all and every step of the way. Anybody can speak faith big from their mouth or from their lips, but when you're actually going through it, you better know that you know that you know that you know that you're a Daniel man, and that you walking not screaming or hollering, but you walking calmly through that desert with confidence that God will never leave me or forsake me. Daniel was a man of prayer, a statesman with the gift of prophecy. He had the goods. So, lessons learned, lessons to be observed, the objective of this message. Only bow down to God and not man's devices. Only bow down to God and not man's devices. The people that dropped a dime on Daniel, them and their family members were put into the lion's den. It was eaten like a Big Mac from McDonald's. Be careful who you try to destroy, who you try to manipulate, because at the end, you're going to be the ones that's going down. Let us pray. Father, we thank you again for this message. We pray, God, that we'll have the fervor of Daniel and all those that are going through trials and tribulation and that are suffering and that are struggling, that you'll be with them in their lion's den. Every one of us has a den. But God, it's not us just going in the den, but coming out victorious. We thank you for being with us in every storm, every trial, every tribulation. We thank you for your grace and your mercy. We pray today, God, now that you may cover all of us with your blood as we go through our den, that we'll come out victorious. And we'll say that God is my helper and the rescue and the very help in time of trouble. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. We hope you all enjoyed this message. Take it with you. Share it with your families. Because I tell you what, we're going to need it to make it through these rough times that we live in. And remember, there's always God in the lion's den. Because if it wasn't, Daniel would have been devoured. And the people that put him in there, they put them in there with their families. May God bless you all and have a wonderful day. Peace.